President ng FFCCCII tungkol sa simulain at sa kanilang donasyon para sa mga biktima ng Bagyong Yolanda sa Leyte. At narito po ang aming naging panayam. Sir, can you give us a background of your organization, FFCCCII?
Okay. First, good morning po. The Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industries was organized 60 years ago. In fact, next month, on the March 29, we're going to celebrate our 60th anniversary. And the main objective when this was organized is really to help our government to promote trade and also to protect the legal right of the Chinese Filipino who are staying in the Philippines.
And today you will be signing a MOA with the governor of Leyte. Can you give us a background on this project of yours?
Yes, this is during the Yolanda disaster typhoon, no? And our chairman emeritus, Dr. Lucio Tan, immediately went to Tacloban. With 5 school buildings, with 10 classrooms to help Palos, Filipino brothers and sisters.
Okay, so who are the beneficiaries of these houses and how are they being chosen?
I think this will be done by the governor's office. No? Of course, our charter member as organization in Tacloban will help to do the proper choosing. No? Yes.
But even before this project of yours, the housing project, you have extended already some form of assistance to the victims. Can you tell us more about this?
Oh yes, when the typhoon started, immediately we have sent almost 50,000 packages worth about 250 pesos relief goods immediately to different areas affected by Yolanda. And I think that's worth about 10 million pesos. No?
And you've also set up the Chinese Filipino Community Calamity Fund campaign. What is this campaign and what is this fund for?
Well, this is fun. Unfortunately, lately, we have a lot of calamities, typhoon, earthquake, fires, all this. So we in the Chinese community, led by our federation, have organized the 8 biggest organization. Actually, it's 7, but we ourselves is 2 organizations. One is the foundation, one is the FFCCCI. Then to collect contribution and donation for this kind of emergency. So any relief, any emergency or calamities, we are ready to send calamities relief goods.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Dr. Alfonso C., President of FFCCCII. At yan nga po ang ating naging panayam kay Dr. Alfonso C., ang Pangulo ng FFCCCII at kanyang inexplain itong magiging MOA signing na inaantabayanan nga po natin ngayong umaga sa pagitan po ng kanilang samahan at sa Provincial Government ng Leyte at nakatakda pong mag-umpisa ito ilang sandali po lamang. Samantala kanina rin ay nakapanayam natin ang Vice Chairman ng Trade Committee ng FFCCCII na si Ms. Elsie Chua at narito po ang aming naging pag-uusap. Ms. Chua, bigyan niyo po kami ng backgrounder patungkol dito sa signing ng MOA ngayong araw na ito.
Ngayong araw is a combination ng buong Filipino-Chinese community to support our beloved President Benigno Aquino Jr. sa kanyang effort para matulungan yung mga kababayan natin sa Leyte. During the height after the storm or after the typhoon ng Yolanda, lahat ng mga opisyales ng Federation, Filipino Federation of Chinese Chamber or FFCCII ay nagpulong para ano ba ang mga prioridad na pwede naming maitulong sa mga kasamahan nating Pilipino. Ang tingin namin kasi hindi na kami Chinese o Filipino. We are also a Filipino. So, being mga negosyante, we want to share kung paano kami makatulong. So, being the vice chair at that time, ako yung kasama ni Sec Purisima sa relief operation. So, doon ko nakita yung talagang at the height na ano talagang kailangan kaysa kung ano-anong comment mo, tumulong ka na lang sa bayan. So, ang nakita namin, number one, tumulong ang federation sa logistic side para may deliver namin yung relief goods from all the warehouses here in Manila, Villamor, DSWD, hanggang sa pier. Nagtulungan kami as one. So, suporta kung ano yung kailangan nila. Tapos, dinala kami ni Secretary Purisima sa Tacloban. So, on the air, nakita ko yung devastation. That was 10 days after.
Yes.
So, when I get back, I reported to my officers. So, nung nalaman nilang ganun, immediately, naggawa sila ng parang lahat ng, even si Chairman Emeritus Lucio Tan, headed by Mr. Tan, na immediately nagpa-meeting siya at naggawa sila ng approval to donate minimum, at least 500 houses sa Leyte.
How much would this project cost, ma'am? And would you have any details tungkol po dun sa mga bahay, kung anong klase pong materials and kung gaano kalaki?
Ano naman to? It's typhoon-proof naman. At good for starter. Hindi siya rehab, kundi starter family. Ang budget namin is worth more than 40 million kasi wala yung profit, materials, labor, diretso. At saka maganda nito, we build the communities like it's a Filipino-Chinese community. So they decided also to donate 5 sets of school barrios para all-in-one in that community to start with.
Meron din po kayong itinayo na Chinese-Filipino Fund campaign.
Correct.
Can you tell us more about this?
Kaya nga, nung after nag-meeting nung November, immediately, the Chinese community were able to raise fund para lang kung anumang project, isusuporta namin kay Presidente. Ito na yon.
So tuloy-tuloy po ba itong calamity fund na ito?
Oo naman. Continuous yan kung saan talaga kailangan ng mga kababayan natin.
Okay, maraming salamat po, Ms. Chua. Yan po ang ating naging panayam kay Ginang Elsie Chua, ang Vice Chairperson ng Trade Committee ng FFCCCII, kung saan makikipagpirmahan nga po ng isang Memorandum of Agreement ang kanilang samahan with the Provincial Government of Leyte. At nandito na nga po si Governor Petilla para i-represent ang kanilang lalawigan. At nandito rin po si Mayor Remedia, biktima ng bagyong Yolanda. Panoorin po natin ang naging panayam namin kay Mayor Petilla. Yes. Ma'am, inaantabayanan pa rin po natin ang pagdating ng Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III dito sa Rizal Hall ng Palasyo ng Malacañang, kung saan sasaksihan po niya ang magiging pagpirma ng isang Memorandum of Agreement sa pagitan ng FFCCCII o Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated at ng Provincial Government ng Leyte. At kanina nga po ay nakausap natin ang Mayor ng Palo Leyte na si Mayor Remedios Petilla, at panoorin po natin ang naging panayam. Ma'am, Mayor, kamusta na po? Uunahin ko, kamustahin ang ating mga kababayan sa Palo Leyte?
Medyo okay lang. We're surviving. We're doing very well. Pero Siyempre, may mga problema pa, marami pa rin gagawin.
Eh,
Pero okay naman, medyo we have accepted the fact that it's really like that.
And today nga po merong magbibigay ng donasyon ng mga
Yes.
bahay and mga paaralan. Ano pong reaksyon ng mga kababayan mula sa Palo?
We're very happy about it. We appreciate it very much. Kailangan talaga namin ng tulong, especially on housing and classrooms. Ang Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ano ko ito noon, since some time ago they have been helping us in our classroom. So ngayon, nag-donate sila for Palo alone. They have donated 20 units of classrooms. One unit is 2 classrooms, complete with toilet and facilities.
Komunidad nga po itong i-build natin.
Yes.
Can you tell us more kung saan po itatayo itong community na ito?
We're thinking of putting it up in Barangay Barayong. That's a barangay that's close to the town, but it's more like there are hills at saka higher level siya.
And kasama po ng pag-rebuild ng komunidad ay yung livelihood program.
Yes.
Ano pong mga livelihood program ang naghihintay sa ating mga kababayan doon?
Dami lang na like what do they have there? Ang mayroon dyan sa Barangay Barayong, they have this fiber, the parang buri na fiber. So we could go into native products production. Mayroon din silang magandaling place nila for vegetable production. We're also into that. Basically, vegetable production because that's for food and for livelihood. So maraming mga we were also proposing with the governor yung native chicken production, yung maski mga hindi masyadong malaki but enough for the community.
And sino-sino po yung mga mabibiyayaan ng mga housing units na ibibigay po ng FFCCCII?
Okay. Yung mga recipients niyan are yung wala talagang mga bahay. Nasira yung bahay nila. Ano rin yung mga nasa no-build zone. Kasi marami yan. So we will also will give those housing to these people. Yung wala talagang bahay. Wala rin silang lupa na matayuan ng bahay.
And kailan po nakatakdang matapos itong proyekto at may award sa ating mga kababayan doon?
As soon as possible. Hindi naman yan matagal siguro. Yung isa naming housing, mga up to October, kung makastart tayo kaagad, it could be within the year.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo, ma'am.
500 housing units yung i-donate nila.
Maraming salamat po sa
Thank you.
inyo and good luck po sa inyo.
Thank you very much.
Yan po ang mayor ng Palo Leyte na si Mayor Remedios Petilla talking about the livelihood programs that await our brothers and sisters who were victims of Typhoon Yolanda in Palo Leyte. Samantala, nakausap din po natin ang Governor ng Leyte na si Governor Dominic Petilla at siya nga po ay nagpapasalamat sa naging donation nito ng FFCCCII, 500 houses and 5 schools para po sa ating mga kababayan na itatayo sa isang barangay po sa Palo Leyte. At kasalukuyan pong inaantabayanan pa rin dito sa loob ng Rizal Hall ng Palasyo ng Malacañang ang pagdating ng Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III para saksihan ang magiging signing ng isang Memorandum of Agreement sa pagitan ng FFCCCII at ng Provincial Government of Leyte. Kaya panoorin din po natin ang aming naging panayam kay Governor Petilla ng Leyte. Governor, unang-una kakamustahin po natin. Kamusta na po ating mga kababayan sa Leyte sa ngayon?
Well, compared to November 8, no, or right after November 8, no, because I had a chance to to take an aerial view several times, no. 2 days after the typhoon, when I was up there, talagang sa Palo, ang tanawan, wala kang makitang may bubong. No? A month later, doon na naman kami sa taas, tumingin kami aerial view. Siguro nakikita namin doon mga nakatarp na yung mga bubong, may mga tents. And then 3 weeks ago, we went back again up there. Tapos I'm glad to see na marami na ring mga bahay na may yero na. Nakayero na yung mga bubong. So with that, no, parang I'm glad na parang it's recovering, no. Parang ang mga tao safe, lalo na nung may dumaan na naman doon na bagyo, yung
Yes.
Basyang, no. Pero puro ulan lang naman, no. Although yung hangin hindi naman gaano kamalakas, no. So parang gano'n, no. So I'm glad na gano'n na nangyayari ngayon.
Governor, patuloy pa rin po ang ating rehabilitation efforts. Can you give us an update kung ano-ano pa yung mga proyektong ating ipinatutupad doon?
Well, there are lots of things, no. Lots of things going on, no. Ang mga pag-repair ng mga nasirang mga infrastructure, no, yung mga school buildings, hospitals. Ngayon we are now making plans. Meron na tayong isa-isang mga plans din para sa mga munisipyo, sa mga civic centers, sa mga palengke na nasira, no. And then we're getting also a lot of support naman from the national government, no, with regards to that.
Ngayong umaga po ay magkakaroon kayo ng pagpirma ng isang MOA with FFCCCII. Ano po ang reaksyon nyo dito at ano masasabi nyo sa proyektong ito?
Well, malaking pasasalamat talaga to sa amin, no. We have been alam nyo, before the Yolanda, we have been contemplating, planning about housing para sa mga informal settlers, no. Kasi meron na rin naman kaming balak mga i-relocate na mga families, no, to a more permanent houses, no, parang gano'n. Nahirapan kami kasi parang pag tumitingin na kami sa budget, parang ang taas, parang gano'n. But in the end ngayon, after Yolanda, we have lots of very generous people, generous groups who has been donating mga permanent housing. So we have done mga groundbreakings na, no, dalawa na ang groundbreaking. So in a few weeks matatapos na yung mga bahay nila. Ngayon meron na naman itong ating FCCI. Then this is
Please remain standing
Rizal
for the
Hall,
Philippine
ang
National
Pangulong
Anthem.
Benigno S. Aquino III.
Please be seated. To deliver the message from the Filipino-Chinese community, please welcome Dr. Alfonso C., the President of the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Inc., and the FFCCCII Foundation, Inc.
Your Excellency, President Benigno S. Aquino III, Honorable Secretary Carlos Jericho Petilla, Secretary Mar Rojas, Honorable Governor Leopoldo Dominico Petilla, fellow leaders of the Chinese-Filipino community, distinguished guests, gentlemen and ladies of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industries Incorporated, FFCCCII Foundation, Inc., Federation of Filipino-Chinese Associations of the Philippines, World News Daily, Filipino-Chinese Amity Club, Overseas Chinese Alumni Association of the Philippines, Filipino-Chinese Sinliang Association, and Philippine-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we wish to express our heartfelt gratitude to Your Excellency, President Aquino, for witnessing this MOA signing ceremony between FFCCCII Foundation Incorporated and Provincial Government of Leyte for the construction of 500 houses and 5 units of various schools for Typhoon Yolanda victims in Leyte. Right after Typhoon Yolanda hit the country, our 8 organizations to help the victims. FFCCCCII Chairman Emeritus, our Dr. Lucio Tan, and 2 of our board members immediately flew to Tacloban to see the situation on the ground and assess what help the Chinese-Filipino community can extend to our affected countrymen. They met with Paulo Mayor Remedios Petilla, who offered a 5-hectare lot to the Chinese-Filipino community should we want to build houses for the victims. The leaders of our 8 organizations come out with a proposal to construct 500 houses in the amount of 40 million pesos. Likewise, various school donors pledged to donate 5 in the community. Upon completion, this project will be called Filipino-Chinese Friendship Village. We also put up a similar village in Cagayan de Oro for the Typhoon Sendong victim in the year 2011. Months from now, 500 families in Leyte will have new houses, and hundreds of students will be using the new Barrio School. We are hopeful that these shelters and schools will help improve the lives of our community residents. We thank our partners for this cooperation which make this project possible. The generous members of the Filipino-Chinese community and the provincial government of Leyte, led by Governor Petilla. At this point, Your Excellency, may I also mention the other relief and rehabilitation effort that we have undertaken for Typhoon Yolanda. To date, we have distributed more than 50,000 relief packages and other items worth more in Leyte, Samar, Iloilo, Capiz, Negros Occidental, Mindoro, and Palawan. Let me also mention our relief operations for Bohol earthquake victims and assistance to the rehabilitation effort worth 2 million pesos. The FFCCCII Foundation, Inc. give medicines for the medical missions in Culion, Palawan, Tacloban City, and some Policarpo, Eastern Samar. Some of our Federation officers have also extended their personal assistance. For example, FFCCCII Chairman Emeritus Dr. Lucio Tan distributed 500,000 bottled water and provided 2 units of mobile water purifier system in Tacloban. FFCCCII Honorable President Dr. Ruben C. provides free use of barges to transfer MMDA's heavy equipment and personnel, relief goods and volunteer workers from Manila to Leyte and Cebu to Leyte. For more than 2 weeks, many of our officers lent their 10-wheeler truck with free gas and drivers to mobilize Opland Hatid relief goods from your operation centers in Pasay City to Manila Port. We were able to deliver more than 420,000 sacks of relief goods. 2 million pesos were also allocated from the Chinese-Filipino Community Fund to rent additional trucks and purchase 1,000 pallets and 350 rolls of firm warp to pack the relief goods. FFCCCI Executive Director Melissa R.C. Chua, with her staff, who represent the Chinese-Filipino community at DSWD's National Resources Operations Center, is staying more than 16 hours a day to help oversee the operations. She also set up a 24-hour command center to arrange communication with truck drivers to fast-track Opland Hatid relief goods. Last December, we turned over 10 units of welding generator sets with complete accessories to the Tacloban business community so they can start repairing their damaged store to resume business operations soonest. We're also extending financial support to 20 graduating computer science and engineering students in UP Tacloban and Iloilo, who were accepted in UP Diliman so they can continue the studies and graduate this semester. We are also donating 200 units of fishing boat with paraphernalia worth 4.5 million pesos for the Bangkang Buhayan project to support livelihood of fishermen affected by Typhoon Yolanda in Iloilo province and communities of Palang region. A number of our Federation officers who have also expressed their willingness to donate various schools to Leyte, Samar, and other Yolanda-affected areas under our Operation Barrio School program. One of them is our Senior Executive Advisor, Dr. Carlos Chan, who donated 200 units of Barrio School worth 80 million pesos. In sum, the amount of the Filipino-Chinese community donated for Typhoon Yolanda relief and rehabilitation effort is close to 150 million, not to mention those direct donations made by the Chinese Filipinos, like the Lucio Tan Group of Companies, like the John Gokongwei Group of Companies, like SM Group of Companies headed by Ms. Teresita Cozon, etc., etc. Your Excellency, the Chinese-Filipino community reaffirmed its full support to our Filipino brothers and sisters and to the government effort on the road to rehabilitation and recovery. Rest assured that our Federation and the Chinese-Filipino community are fully behind you in serving our beloved country and fellow Filipinos. Maasahan po ninyo ang aming patuloy na pagsuporta sa Pangulo. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang ating Pangulo. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you, Dr. Alfonso C. To give the message from the provincial government of Leyte, may I call on the Honorable Governor, Leopoldo Dominico Petilla.
His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines, Secretary Marojas and Secretary Ikot Petilla, FFCCCII President Alfonso GC, all members of the Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce who are here today, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning to everybody. In 3 days' time, it would exactly be 3 months after Super Typhoon Yolanda devastated our province. It is indeed, I would like to note that we are making headways in terms of recovery and rehabilitation. More importantly, for our people, for their families, and for their livelihood. We are here today to witness the MOA signing between the Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Foundation Incorporated, and the province of Leyte for the resettlement site in Palo, Leyte, for families who lost their homes during the typhoon. We know for a fact how difficult it is for our families to be displaced, much more to have no means of livelihood to daily survive. But rest assured, we'll be doing this one step at a time. For now, let's get you settled first and your family so you can focus on making a living next. We are thankful that we have the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry ready to help us. Indeed, even before the typhoon came in November, FFCCCI is already our partner in building schools and other similarly important projects in Leyte. It is said that it would take more than 2 years to complete the permanent shelter program for typhoon victims. However, it really pushes the process with the local government, the private sector, foreign organizations. The process becomes very fast and further. Every investment or aid brought upon us, it pays back because of the capacity of the community to expand the aid. I continue to call on the private sector, such as the Chamber, the international community and other private partners to continue its support as the government prepared for reconstruction assistance on Yolanda. A Build Back Better plan for new shelters, major infrastructure, education, health, and agriculture facilities and systems, among many others, in the affected areas. I believe that the people of Leyte just don't wait for help. They have really started to organize their lives again and do their best. The United Nations and the national government are currently looking at maintaining food aid distribution to the families affected by the typhoon until March. But the focus now shifts to establish more lasting interventions to restore food security. This includes providing seeds and equipment to farmers, reopening markets, and ensuring the stability of prices of basic goods in affected areas. We are doing all this to help everybody. And with your cooperation and resilience, I am sure we Leyteños can get back to where we were even before the typhoon came. Thank you very much. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you, Governor Petilla. And we will now proceed with the signing ceremony. Memorandum of Agreement between the FFCCCII Foundation, Inc. and the Provincial Government of Leyte covers the construction of 500 houses and 5 units of barrio school for Typhoon Yolanda victims in Palo, Leyte. The MOA will be signed by Dr. Alfonso C., representing the FFCCCII Foundation, Inc., and Governor Leopoldo Dominico Petilla for the Leyte Provincial Government, to be witnessed by His Excellency S. Aquino III. On November 11, 2013, the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Inc., the FFCCCII Foundation, Inc., together with the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Association of the Philippines, World News Day, Chinese Amity Club, Overseas Chinese Alumni Association of the Philippines, Filipino-Chinese Xinlian Association, and Philippine-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Inc., from the Chinese Filipino community launched a calamity fund drive to help the victims of Typhoon Yolanda. Part of the said fund drive will finance the construction of 500 houses, which will be constructed in a 5-hectare lot in Barangay Barayong, Palo, Leyte. The project costs 40 million pesos and will benefit 500 families. The 5-unit of barrio school building, equivalent to 10 classrooms, with a total cost of 2 million pesos, will be constructed under FFCCCII Operation Barrio School Program. Thank you very much. May I now call on the Honorable Carlos Cherico Petilla, the Secretary of the Department of Energy, to introduce our guest speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III.
Morning. Please sit down. Secretary Maroja, Secretary Petilla, Governor Leopoldo Dominico Petilla, Mayor Martin Petilla, Dr. Alfonso C., Dr. Lucio Tan, Mr. Pedro Madarang, officials of the other Filipino-Chinese organizations present, fellow workers in government, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. Medyo may konti akong problema eh. Nagsalita po si Dr. Alfonso C. Sabi ko, grabe energy level. Ano kaya sekreto? Parang, in comparison, I feel actually well today, but I'm unfortunately cannot match his energy level. Perhaps he will teach me the secret a little later. I'm sure it's not because of overindulgence in tikoy after the New Year. The disasters that befell our country in 2013 were a true test of our capacities as a nation. Even before Super Typhoon Yolanda made landfall, many of our resources were already devoted to helping our countrymen recover from the Zamboanga siege incident and the Bohol earthquake. So perhaps you can imagine how far it stretched our capacities when Yolanda arrived and affected 44 out of our 81 provinces. In its immediate aftermath, we had to prepare relief goods for those affected by the typhoon, a task that became all the more difficult because Yolanda was more powerful than any storm anyone had ever seen, and it swept away the goods and the resources we had pre-positioned. We had to do everything possible to clear the roads and airports in the soonest possible time so that relief goods could reach the survivors. We had to bury the dead. We had to make sure that those affected had roofs to sleep under. The challenge that confronted us was enormous, and it was only through our people's resilience and solidarity that we overcame it. It was through the commitment and the hard work of those in government who dealt with the relief, recovery, and reconstruction, of those in private or from private entities who conducted the relief operations either on their own or shoulder to shoulder with government, and of those citizens who sacrificed their time in volunteer centers. Now, a different but no less formidable challenge lies ahead of us. As we rebuild the communities affected by Typhoon Yolanda, we must do so in a way that can unshackle us from the vicious cycle of destruction and reconstruction. This is precisely why we are building back better. Instead of simply rebuilding what was lost, we are building in a way that makes our communities more resilient in the face of disaster, and everyone's participation makes this a reality. As you know, Leyte is part of Region 8, the region most affected by Yolanda. Thus, we really welcome this partnership between FFCCCII Foundation and the provincial government of Leyte. I'm extremely confident that the 500 housing units and the 5 barrio schools you will be constructing in Palo will go a long way in our efforts to empower our countrymen to take hold of their destinies once more. Especially since you will be working with Celia, a member of the next generation of true public servants. This project of yours comes at the heels of your enormous contributions in the aftermath of Yolanda, where you, your members, and 6 other organizations distributed more than 50,000 relief packs and provided welding sets, fishing boats, water purifying systems, and medicine, among other resources needed by those who were affected. I am told that in total you were able to raise close to 150 million pesos, and this is for relief and rehabilitation operations in the aftermath of Yolanda alone. All that you have done serves to underscore the compassion that you hold for your fellow Filipinos. You will never hesitate to step in and assist our countrymen, whether it is through helping them recover after a major disaster, or helping our Department of Education build classrooms, or funding your own volunteer. As President, I made a point to be here today to personally express my gratitude and the gratitude of your countrymen. Your actions and your willingness to respond in times of crisis have inspired in me the expectation that you will act with the same amount of solidarity no matter what challenges lie ahead. I thank you for casting your stake on building a society that is compassionate and just, a society where the rich and the poor, the mighty and the needy, the strong and the weak are equal before the eyes of the law, where those who have the wherewithal to pull their fellow man up do so without question or hesitation. I assure you that what you are doing on the community level, my government has been doing and will continue to do so on a national scale. Inclusiveness remains our guiding principle. as we build a regime of opportunities and empower those who have lost so much to the tragedies that befell our country in the past year. As we welcome a new year in both the Gregorian and lunar calendars, let us never forget the lessons that were taught to us by Yolanda. Let us never forget that our greatest weapon as a people is our solidarity, and that in the face of great challenge, we are called upon to set aside personal interests and come together as one people in service to our country. Out of this time of tragedy, an authentic face of Bayanihan has emerged through initiatives such as the one we are witnessing today. I am convinced that as long as we all work together, as long as each one of us remains active in the grand task of nation building, and as long as we never forget to take strength from our benevolent God, who has seen us through all our hardships, then we can weather any storm and sail our ship of state together further into the light of day. Again, congratulations and kung hei fat choy.
Thank you, His Excellency. And now we shall have a photo opportunity. May I request Dr. C, Governor Petilla, the Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Lucio Tan, and Mr. Pedro Madarang to please come forward for the picture taking. May I request Mr. Tan Chin, Dr. Francis Chua, Attorney Malyari, Mr. Tiu Chun Lin,
Inyo pa rin pong
Mr.
napapanood
Taiko
ang
An,
special
Mr.
coverage ng signing ceremony ng Memorandum of Agreement sa pagitan po ng Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated at ng Provincial Government ng Leyte na personal pong sinaksihan ng Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III sa Rizal Hall sa palasyo po ng Malacañang. At kumpleto nga po itong mga miyembro o mga pinuno ng FFCCCII. Ito po ay binubuo ng 8 samahan na mga komunidad ng Filipino-Chinese kung saan binigyan po nila ng donasyon ng provincial government ng Leyte para sa pagtatayo ng 500 housing units at 5 paaralan para sa mga biktima ng bagyong Yolanda ng noong nakaraang taon. Ang komunidad na ito ay tatayo po sa Palo, Leyte at personal nga pong pinasalamatan ng Pangulo ang Chinese Filipino community sa kanilang patuloy na pagtulong sa mga kababayan nating biktima ng bagyong Yolanda. Ayon sa Pangulo, ang kanilang pagtuloy na pagtulong sa mga panahon ng kalamidad at krisis ay hindi matatawaran at malaking bagay para sa ating mga kababayang mga nasalanta. Siniguro ng Pangulo na ang pagpupunyagi at pagtulong ng Filipino-Chinese community sa mga nangangailangan nating kababayan ay patuloy din ginagawa ng national government. Build back better, yan ang prinsipyo na giniit ng Pangulo sa patuloy na pagtatayo muli ng mga komunidad na nasira nga ng bagyong Yolanda, hindi lamang po sa Leyte kundi maging sa ibang bahagi ng Region 8. At ayon pa sa Pangulo, ang hakbang na ito ng Filipino-Chinese community ay patunay ng pagkakaisa ng buong bansa tungo sa pagbangon. Umaasa rin ng Pangulong Aquino na habang nagkakaisa ang mga Pinoy ay walang pagsubok na hindi natin kayang harapin at walang bagyo na hindi kayang suungin. At bago po kami magpaalam, nais po naming pasalamatan ang PTV, Telebisyon ng Bayan, ang RTVM, ang IBC at ang Radyo ng Bayan. At inyo nga po nasaksihan ang special coverage namin ng MOA signing sa pagitan po ng Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated at ng Provincial Government ng Leyte na pinangunahan nga po ng pinuno ng FFCCCII na si Dr. C at ng Governor ng Leyte na si Dominic Petilla. At sa ngalan po ng lahat ng bumubuo PTV, RTVM, IBC at ng Radyo ng Bayan. Ako po si Cathy San Gabriel. Isang magandang umaga at maraming salamat, Pilipinas.